when I drink. So the whole office staff came down, and so there was this crowd around me, and Stokely could never resist the crowd. So he comes up and he says, "Hey, white boy," he says, "how many of us poor nigger souls you saved today?" And I said, "Hey, nigger," I said, "don't you be calling me no white boy." You know, like I'm red by that time. I said, "Damn, Stokely, not only is you colored, but you colored blind," because I gave him a shot at the dozens there, you know. And I said, "Don't give me none of that bullshit about how you was descended from one of the 7 great tribes of Africa, because while your great-grandfather was chucking spears, mine in Japan were building great cities and great works of art." So he said, "Damn," and and the whole office staff was rolling on the sidewalk, and I mean, Stokely was a beautiful guy. I mean, I loved him to death, but you know, you had to be on your toes when Stokely was around.
You guys seem like you had a real sense of family.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
what was that like, and you know, how it seems like how's it carried over?
Oh yeah. It was, you know, Julian Bond came up to Canada once. He was on some TV show that they called up for. So he called me up, and we went for drinks or dinner one time, and he says, "You know, Wakayama," in that mellifluous voice of his, he says, "I don't think I could ever give of myself or be so totally involved and passionate as I was in those years with SNCC." And I said, "Yeah, Julian, you know, I hear you. I know what you mean." And the odd thing is that you know, we have these periodic reunions. We don't see each other for 10, 20 years, like this SNCC reunion in Raleigh, North Carolina, where SNCC began in 2000. We gathered there, and so, damn, it's just like, hey, brother, it's like that decade never intervened. You know, it was just like being back in Atlanta, you know, and then I remember Chuck Nubbler saying, "Wakayama," and you know, so I said, "Hey, Chuck," and you know, that kind of thing, or Judy Richardson, you know. Energetic Judy Richardson. So it was just like, yeah, it was just like yeah, it was a family. It was a real tight family. Or John Lewis, I run, we hug, you know, and then and it carries through. And I remember when Julian died, and Ed wrote me a email saying, "Well, our brother Julian's dead," and he said, you know, the small circle of SNCC people has gotten smaller. And I said, "Yeah, well, that's sad, you know, but on the other hand, the circle has grown, you know, as demonstrated, because I'm in Washington because I was invited here along with Julian and Brother Ed for this coalition of organizers in the Asian Pacific communities, like Latinos, Indos, Chinese, Japanese, you know, in pockets all over the country, in Hawaii, Guam, and they're getting together and they're doing the same tasks that we were, you know, which is give voice to those who had remained silent, to give power to those who've gotten impotent, you know, and to restore all that. So like I'm at this conference, and then like I'm saying, Jesus, those meetings reminded me of old SNCC staff meetings and conferences, and the same kind of fire and passion and everything, and it's gratifying to see, and I'm sure Julian would have been delighted, you know, because of the emergence of a whole new generation, and they're a lot smarter than we ever were, and they got all the tools, the modern tools, you know, to affect change, but it was gratifying because I mean we were honored, you know, we were respected, and yeah, it's gratifying in that sense because they realize that they're there because of certain things that happened, you know, of which we were a part, and so they gain you know, inspiration, strength from the struggles that we went through, in the same way that that we came up and we were the followers of events that preceded us, you know. So like there's a momentum, and so it was like, yeah, the circle has grown smaller, but it's also like the pebble that gets thrown into a pond, and then the ripples spread out. Well, the ripples are going into this mighty, you know, tsunami wave, hopefully. Yeah.
So last question.
All right.
It's 4 decades later, which again, you still wouldn't answer this, but to be redundant.
Yeah.
How has Snake changed your life?
Oh, okay. Well, in the immortal words of Lou Gehrig, you know, I consider myself one of the luckiest people in the world, because at a critical point in my life where I was in desperate need of new directions and new truths and everything, I happened to stumble on this thing called the movement and SNCC, who welcomed me with open arms, and so it altered the trajectory of my life, because you have to understand that I'm a child of the prison camps that confined my family, my community, the community of some 22,000 Japanese in Canada, and stuck them into camps during World War II, and my parents lost everything that they built up to that point. Now, Americans are surprised that happened, and they're shocked to know that the situation was much worse in Canada. Like, we weren't allowed after the wars and the closing of the camps to go back to our homes, which they'd sold, unbeknownst to us, and they used that money to pay for our incarceration. You know, neat trick. And so they said you either got to accept being banished to Japan or being exiled east of the Rockies. So my family decided to stay. But so I grew up in that post-war period in the diaspora of our community, where being a Jap was this like subhuman species, you know, cruel, treacherous, the very embodiment of evil and physically repulsive. And so I grew up wanting to be like John Wayne, you know, like tall, heroic, and above all else white, the very gold standard of everything that was good and noble in the world. So I wrestled with that, and so change. So my involvement with SNCC was the beginning of changing that perception. And I remember discussions of Black Power, and it made a lot of sense to me, because it was like, I remember Stokely saying, well, you know, the first thing you got to do is to break free, is to get rid of that thing that you're a nigger, you know, or get rid of that thing that I'm a Jap. It's the same damn thing. It's what the society imposes upon you and what you internalize, and you've got to break that chain. So, and SNCC helped me break that. It was a glorious time.